Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Saudi Arabia is very close to allowing its Air Force to strike targets inside Iran after facing unprecedented missile and drone attacks on its civilians, including incoming missiles today targeting Daman, its fifth largest city. Quote, the next 24 hours is going to be intense, I'm told. A line has been crossed.
And that from the Fox News channel. I'm joined now by former Long Island Congressman Peter King. Congressman, how are you?
Dominic, I'm always doing well, especially when I'm talking to you.
I feel the same way, Congressman. I'm a big fan, and I say that seriously. So the situation in
I just
Iran.
wish you liked me as much as you like my wife, but that's another story. You and Rosemary,
your wife is a wonderful person. She really is. She's the real deal. But so are you, Congressman. So the situation in Iran, might this explode, and perhaps explode is a bad word in this case, but expand to something much bigger, a much bigger war involving many other countries? What's your take on this?
Yeah, there's always that potential, but I think what happened now is, and I'm not trying to trivialize this, I think Iran has shot itself in the foot by sending missiles and rockets and drones to all of the other, so many of the other Gulf countries where American bases are. They thought somehow, I guess, that was going to intimidate those countries into closing down the American bases. Instead, it's given them the excuse they were looking for to join forces against Iran.
Absolutely.
And I would say Saudi Arabia is, the biggest example of that. I have no doubt, I'm not part of the inside anymore, but I'm absolutely certain that Saudi Arabia was saying publicly all along that they couldn't be involved in something like this, privately telling the United States, you got to do this as quickly as you can. And once Iran fired shots into Saudi Arabia, that gave Saudi Arabia the opportunity to say that they are allying with the United States, that they are opposed to what Iran is doing. So I think that they have really turned the Gulf states against them, and Iran has. And so our position is stronger that way. Listen, there's no such thing as an easy war. Anything can happen. But I'd say so far, but the military end of it has gone exceptionally well. And diplomatically, Iran has probably done more to help us. We've done to help ourselves by attacking the other nations that at least could have been kept neutral because of the anti-Israel feeling that there is in those countries among the people. But the governments knew it had to be done. But they just really didn't have the nerve to get out there and couldn't find a way to do it. Iran gave them that opportunity.
Congressman Peter King, the Ayatollah found out the hard way that President Trump is not someone to play with. When you were in Congress, did you folks ever get government briefings on these leaders? I'm not talking about media spin. I mean official briefings on world leaders, their personalities, and who was dangerous and so on. Did you ever receive that?
Yes, when I was on the Intelligence Committee, we did. The CIA does psychological profiles on any leader in the world that really has any strength or any influence at all. Absolutely, yeah.
Wow. And obviously you can't go into private details, but in general, what are some of the things they would say? Would they talk about the quirks of their personality, what their strengths are, their weaknesses are?
Yeah, I would say, and I can keep this general, that they would look as to what drives these so-called leaders, and the only ones that I recall, the only ones I recall that they thought were suicidal were the Iranian leaders, and that Putin didn't want to get killed, Saddam Hussein didn't want to get killed, Kim Jong-un doesn't want to get killed, Chinese leaders don't want to get killed. The only ones who are willing to do that and be martyrs for the cause are the mullahs in Iran. So I think that's a factor that has to be considered. That like I see that some people are wondering why, with all these rockets coming down on them and all the damage being caused, why does Iran not surrender, or why doesn't Iran reach out to make some sort of an accommodation? Is you have that added factor of the religious and ideological zeal they have, which the other countries don't have. So it's a problem for us to the extent that they are willing to fight to the death, but it also is an advantage because it shows that they're irrational and their tactics and strategy are not going to be as organized as they should be.
Congressman King, I've talked to you about issues like this before, so I don't expect for you to comment. I have to point this out before I continue with you. So I just received a tweet at Dominic TV from Jimmy Fontanez, Staten Island, and it's very disturbing. And I'm describing this, folks, because we have to be honest in terms of descriptions so that you can follow the full story. I feel that I have an obligation to do so. So it's kids on a bus, Congressman, and there's this pint-sized African-American youngster. He looks like he's about 12. I don't know. White bus driver, middle-aged white man, and this kid is just punching the bus driver, and he hits the bus driver. The bus is parked. It looks like a yellow bus. He hits the bus driver so hard in the head that all the bus driver could do was sit down and see if there was blood coming from his head. And then he becomes angry and he gets up, and this little pint-sized future Rikers Island person starts rain-making punches again on the bus driver. I just don't understand, because when this is tolerated, then it's tolerated where these animals throw snowballs at the NYPD and think it's funny, and Mamdani defends them, and DA Bragg does not pursue assault. As a matter of fact, I didn't get to ask you about that. I know you're not surprised that Bragg did not go forward with an assault charge, correct?
No, I'm not surprised, but still incredibly disappointed, disgusted, furious. I mean, to have that type of an assault on authority on men and women who were brought there at the request of the community to restore order, and to have these goons and thugs hitting them with ice balls, snowballs, hitting them with anything. It's just the idea that disrespect is one thing. The physical harm is almost secondary to me, as far as just the disrespect and the tone it creates in the city. First of all, for the mayor to say it's just a snowball fight, as I said, listen, if there were imams getting hit in the head with snowballs, you wouldn't say it's just a snowball fight. Of course not.
It would be breaking news as far as he's concerned.
And then to have Bragg, who is looking at every opportunity he can to indict cops for the slightest infraction, for him to drop the felony charges and just drop them immediately and have this guy released. And he has a record. This guy is no saint. And by the way, they talk about kids throwing snowballs. The guy's 27 years old with a record. I mean, that to me is not a kid just having a snowball fight on the street corner. It was absolute aggression. It was terrible. And so you're seeing with bus drivers and other people in authority, unfortunately, I think we're going to see more of that because of the lack of respect and the way it's almost laughed off at somehow people in positions of authority who should be respected just become objects of derision, and people we can do insult them, abuse them any way we want. And it's going to get worse and worse, I think, and I blame it on the mayor, and I blame it on the police commissioner. I'm sorry, not the police, my God, not the police commissioner, the district attorney. I admire the police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, for what she's doing in standing up. Absolutely.
Here. She's the only one standing up. But the question is, how long can she stand? Because one person can only take but so much. And these are the things that we see publicly dealing with this mayor. So imagine what the private things are that we don't know. Anyway, Congressman, I want you to listen, Congressman Peter King, to your associate here, to your pal, and this guy is the real deal in the race for governor. This is Bruce Blakeman. Bruce Blakeman, the Nassau County executive.
To the Columbia University students and faculty that posted death to America, I have one message for you. Get the out.
And obviously we had to beat that, Congressman King. He's also blasting, if you will, Governor Hochul, saying that it's un-American what she's doing, making statements that are a contradiction as it relates to Iran. And he says here, at a time when American service members are risking everything, Kathy Hochul should be supporting our troops, not attacking our country. Your reaction?
I agree completely. First of all, I fully support what the president is doing. Even if I did not, the fact is you can question whether or not this was the right time to do it and not do it. The fact is he's launching an attack against one of the most evil groups of people, hierarchy in the country that we've ever seen in the history of the world. These are evil, maniacal people. And so whether or not he should have attacked them today, tomorrow, next week, the fact is he's doing it. And now that we're there, he's the commander-in-chief. It's not as if he's attacking a hospital or a nursery or senior citizens' home. He's attacking an evil country. The government of that country is so evil, and to me, which is a threat to the entire, not just the Middle East and to the world, but specifically the United States. They've said that they're going to destroy the great Satan, which is the United States. And are we supposed to wait? It was like if you had a neighbor who said he's going to kill you, and he's across the street, and you see him putting together a bomb. Do you wait till it's finished before you take him out, or you take him out at the first opportunity you can? This is the first real opportunity we've had to move against Iran in a way that is maximum for us, minimum for they have minimum ways of defending themselves now. We have the maximum opportunity, and they are at their weakest ever, and this is the time to do it. But again, even if I didn't agree with that as far as the timing, I would never, ever question the United States. That would be as if we attacked Hitler in 1938 and said, we have to wait till 1939 or 1941. Maybe that would have been right. I don't know. But the fact is, you're getting rid of an evil person, and the greater good is to do that. So, no, these Democrats are so disappointing. Listen, I was in Congress when Barack Obama, and I supported him on this, when we took action against Libya, which resulted in a regime change, in Gaddafi being taken out and killed. And when Nancy Pelosi and others were saying, doesn't he have to get approval for this, President Obama? And I said, absolutely not. This is his power as commander-in-chief. So to me, how you can say it's okay when President Obama does it, but wrong when President Trump. Listen, we can have those side fights over tax issues or highway bills. They get partisan, they get political. I understand that. But when you're talking about the commander-in-chief, when you're talking about the security of the United States and the armed forces and men, American and women, men and women in uniform in battle with their lives at stake, this is the time to stand together as one.
Absolutely. Congressman Peter King, thank you so much for joining us. I find it so enlightening, your conversations, because, and I say this all the time with you, I know that you know what you're talking about. There are some people out there posturing that have no idea what they're talking about. Always a great pleasure and privilege to talk to you, Congressman. Thank you.
Dominic, thank you. My privilege.
Thank you, Congressman. In regards to your family and your wife, thank you very much.
You got it. Okay.
I want to go back to your telephone calls now, 800-848-9222. Line 4, Liz in Florida. Liz, before you begin, 95 degrees in Florida today?
Not that hot, but pretty close. It's stunning. But I know it snowed there today.
Yes.
And you're welcome to come here.
Yeah, I may have to. What's going on? What's on your mind today?
So I have several friends who are from Iran, and I'm not sure that really everyone knows what kind of restrictions they have. I mean, it's so bad over there that they, of course, have that dress code, right? And if their hair shows or something is off, there's patrols, and they can be beaten, and there's penalties. They also they have to they are required to have male guardian permission to travel, to marry, and to work. And their laws, it depends. They may or may not be able to work in certain places. There's no divorce rights. There's no legal protection against domestic violence. Okay, so they can be beat up, and it doesn't matter. They'll, it's all for the men.
Hey, Liz,
or sexual harassment.
Liz, the first caller today said that women in Iran can't attend a soccer game, or they're not allowed to sing in the presence of a man. I mean, did you know that? This is the first time I heard this.
Well, I didn't know about the soccer game, but I did know that, so Orthodox women are not allowed to, actually, they can sing, but men are not allowed to listen to women singing. It's considered immodest. So women usually sing in front of other women, but it's so different. Can't even compare night and day. Here in the United States, women have rights no matter what religion you hold. But in Iran, there are no women's rights. There are zero. They're not equal to men. So that's why the pro-women organizations should be praising President Trump right now.
Right. I got to take a break, Liz. But, as you're talking, I'm thinking about this was the late 80s. And I saw all these, this was in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. I saw all these rules for women. I saw them walking a few steps behind the man who I believe was the husband. But I just found it very interesting because at nighttime, frankly, when the men were creeping, they were somehow able to find women that were down with their cause. Of course, it wasn't the wife, but it was, they were able to do their little dirt. I just find it amazing and interesting. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.